Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick, and we got a Thursday night football preview. We're doing it live on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast apps, that doesn't matter. And we're here to preview the Giants-Cowboys Thursday night football game. Justin, the first of two Thursday matchups this year with Dallas. We'll be playing them on Thanksgiving in their house, but they're coming to MetLife Stadium. And this Cowboys team is vulnerable. The Giants are riding high off of that Browns win, Justin. I still think this is going to be a really tough matchup. But this is the most flawed the Cowboys team has been basically since that first year of McCarthy when Dak got hurt, but even before Dak got hurt in that game against the Giants in 2020, I believe. Like this is definitely the most flawed team since then.
Yeah, and that's the last time that the Giants have defeated the Dallas Cowboys with Andy Dalton. Dude, it's starting to get to me where Daniel Jones doesn't have a Thursday night win, only one primetime victory. Dude, we've got to shake it at some point, right? You got to shake off not beating Dallas. You got to shake off not winning in primetime. You got to shake off not winning in Thursday night football. It's got to be now, man. Control the season. Giants should be 2-1 right now. That dumb Commanders game was scoring 3 touchdowns, and they scored 0 touchdowns and we lost. Still bugging me, and it even bugs me a little more now that the Giants had a nice victory against the Browns. Prove that victory, prove that good offensive performance against a good Browns defense was not a fluke, man. Need the superstar players to show up against a vulnerable Dallas Cowboy team. Let's do it, man. Let's, on national television where it's always great. We just said this on our power ranking show, Bobby. You overreact. It's NFL media just overreacts to primetime games. Friday morning, I want to wake up and I want the NFL media and the NFL world overreacting to a 2-2 Giants team saying, can they do something in the NFC East? Come on, man. Let's get the monkey off our back.
Yeah, you wonder why why does people talk this way about the Giants? Because they always lose in prime time. So, but I want to start talking about the Giants offense versus Cowboys defense.
As we do.
And, passing offense and passing defense are a little more complex. We talk about trends and stuff that each team does. So we usually end up spending more time on it than we do the run game. But I want to start talking about the Giants rushing offense in this game, specifically the Cowboys rushing defense. Man, if there was ever a run the damn ball game, it is this. And now that we've seen that the Giants can do it, the Cowboys are 32nd in rushing yards per game. And you say, well, Bobby, you got to put those stats into context, right? You can't just look at raw stats. They've been losing by big amounts at half, so teams are running the ball. Simple as that, right? No, they are dead last in rushing success rate on defense. They are dead last in yards per carry. If any stat is misconstrued on the Cowboys by their lack of their big deficits, it's the fact that their passing offense is 14th in yards per game. Like, oh, that's not bad. They're 25th in yards per attempt. This is a weak, soft run defense, and it starts with their defensive tackles. They get moved off the ball. If you're trying to move them down a gap, they are controllable. The Giants should be running, the duo thing. I've been talking about the duo run for since the start of the season. They should be doing that all game long. There's other things about the run game that I think the Giants should bring in, like misdirection and zone reads and stuff. Obviously, the Ravens had a lot of success on that because that's what they do. But the Giants need to do what their strength as a rushing offense is double team like crazy and just get downhill because they're gonna find success. Like Singletary should have 20+ carries in this game, and if he doesn't have 30, it's because Tyrone Tracy got 7 or 8.
Or the Giants get behind early, which that's the whole you can't have happen. You can't. I mean, I know this is such a cliche thing, and every football team says this, but you can't get behind early with this Dallas Cowboy team because the ability that the Giants will have in a game neutral situation is to run the ball, or even with the lead, is to run the ball, and you cannot lose that offensively nor defensively. But here's my question to you, Bobby. I think they can have a lot more success, and I think they can have a fair amount of success running out of 11 personnel than going big. Because if you're going to have I want less guys in the box for the Dallas Cowboys, and I want more attention going on a guy like Malik Neighbors
like putting maybe playing two high safeties, putting a safety over the top because you got to watch Malik Neighbors. And if you're in 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers, you got to account for the pass, right? Less guys in the box. Maybe we can make it a 5 versus 6 matchup of guys in the box. And hey, if they want to stack the box against the run, then you start throwing the ball and then you have an advantage there. So I know this Cowboy defense is bad against the run, but also what the Baltimore Ravens did last week, and I'm not expecting the Giants to do this. What really got the Ravens cooking is they were able to get explosive plays off of being really efficient in the run. Nelson Aguilar had a 50-plus yard play where there was poor tackling on that Cowboy defense. Charlie Kohler got a 30-yard play. Derrick Henry had a big receiving play early in that game too, and the Giants have been throwing the ball to their running backs too. So I think they need some explosive plays to couple along with this run game. And I also think that they should be running out of 11 personnel, because I honestly think, at least my eye test, feel like they've been more successful running out of 11 with that lighter formation versus those big formations.
The Giants?
Are you charting that?
I'm not charting that, but their most successful game was against the Commanders, and that's when they got their heaviest. And the eye test, I mean, the duo thing, I think you need to get in heavy personnel, but part of that is you talk about the passing game. I mean, they've been really bad against play action, the Dallas Cowboys, right? The last 2 weeks, they've given up 13 completions on 16 attempts for 258 yards on play action, right? 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The 1 interception, by the way, was a wide open Chris Olave that Derek Carr just overthrew. It tipped over his hands and was tipped up for an interception. Like, when you start running like that and out of those formations, it's like the Giants' bread and butter concept out of play action has been the deep post and the crosser, the over route, right? Yankee. The crosser has been there all year. It's been a short sample size. It's been there all day. The Browns were 1 of 8 for 8 yards in play action, but they're legitimately might be the worst offense in football.
Yeah.
They need, so that they got to kind of build their play action concepts off their run concepts, which I think is getting out of heavy personnel. Now, here's the thing. I do think they should do some running out of gun, Justin. But when you're running out of gun, you do think similar to what the Ravens did. Zone read them, right? Zone read them with motion. Throw misdirection at them. Make Micah Parsons think. The less that Micah Parsons is just playing fast and going, the better, right? So they'll crash and play the back. So then DJ can, keep the ball and have himself a nice 20, 25-yard run. The Giants actually found success with that last week, but they had 2 holding penalties called on their tight ends, both which were, I feel like, good acting jobs by Grant Delpit. So just throw misdirection at them like that, so they're playing honest that. But at the end of the day, the way they should be running the ball is leaning on them. Double teams up front, take care of the first level, and you will get push on them. So their
interior's bad. You got to run up the A gap. You got to run up the B gap, right? Their interior is bad.
Yeah, run. So get big and run at them. Their passing offense is also.
Oh.
Their passing offense has not been very good. Like, obviously,
passing defense.
Passing defense. Yeah, Micah Parsons is obviously balling, through 3 games, but teams just aren't throwing the ball a lot outside of the Browns. Who threw the ball, 45 plus times.
They were behind in that game too. So
yeah, but they've only they still should have been a little more committed to the run. But the Browns just are a mess offensively.
Yeah, Browns should do a lot of things better.
The Ravens and the Saints, and this is where having the lead helps, but they also committed to the run early in these games. So it wasn't just, they got the lead and started running the ball. They only threw 31 passing attempts combined the last 2 weeks, which is pretty crazy, but they had a lot of success doing it. So I'm not expecting the Giants to have that type of success, but there should be an emphasis on running the ball on first down. If it's 2nd and 8, run. Like, I don't care if it's 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 8. You can run against the Cowboys on those downs. But Micah Parsons is obviously balling. They're really not using him much in the A gap, but he does have quick success when he does. Andrew Thomas is looking for a bounce back, after the matchup with Myles Garrett. We actually haven't seen these guys match up a ton over the last couple of years, right? Whether, or since Micah Parsons has come in, whether it's been 2021 where he played mostly linebacker versus the Giants, last year in their matchup, he played only, a handful of snaps on Andrew Thomas and, lining up on the right tackle and over the A-gap. I hope they get this matchup, but if they don't, right, if they put Micah Parsons mostly on the right tackle, that's where I think you should give your tight end chip and help.
Yeah.
Right. That's where you should give your help, unless you're trying to work quick game, which I do think the Giants should work. But anytime you're building up, I don't care how much we like Jermaine Eleanor, you should be giving help there.
I agree.
And if you're doing that, then you have Thomas one-on-one against Marcus Lawrence. He should dominate that. Lawrence has been awful this year, but it's the Giants. So
yeah, you got to, hey, don't say that, man.
Oh, I know. Marcus Lawrence has been awful, but he just always plays well against the Giants. But he also
there's also no disaster. Hopefully, there's no disaster offensive lineman. So Jermaine Elemunor isn't, Evan Neal, and Andrew Thomas certainly isn't. So
yeah, or Nate Solder, or even Mike Remmers, who DeMarcus Lawrence had a lot of success against back in the day. But I do want to see the Thomas versus Parsons matchup as much as possible, because that's the less they have any type of favorable look, anywhere. I know Osa Odigizua and Chauncey Golson can rush the passer halfway decent on the interior, but the way the Giants have been so connected up front, I'm not really worried about that. And if you have Thomas versus Parsons, they really don't have this huge advantage anywhere else, even though you can argue Lawrence would be better than Jermaine Eleanor. So that matchup is obviously a big one for them, but their passing defense has just been bad, right? They're running a lot more zone this year, less man coverage, and Trevon, Kalen Carson is going to be out in this game. Deron Bland is on IR. Their DBs just have not been good, and they've missed tackles, and it's led to a lot of yak plays. This could be a nice big game for Robinson and Neighbors efficiency-wise. But here's what I don't expect the Giants to be trying to push the ball down the field a ton. One, they actually started trying to do that in the second half of the Browns game, and they didn't have success against it, where they had the success working the quick game and stuff. So I think that's just what the Giants are going to do in this matchup, and it's going to be built off the run game. But when they are looking for the chunk plays, I think it's going to be built off of the play action.
Yeah, I was going to say, shouldn't we? That's the next step, man, and I'm anxious for it. I need something. I need one deep shot to be completed. This will be the fourth game, and we haven't had that oh wow moment yet. We've had it from Malik Neighbors, don't get me wrong, but that oh wow, get up out of your seat. Is this ball going to land in a Giants receiver's hands? We haven't had that yet.
Yeah, I mean, the only one is the Neighbors ball up the sideline, which was ended up being a 28-yard pass.
Yeah. I'm talking 30, 40, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. The Giants just have not hit on that. So if you want to believe
here's a tendency,
sure. But at the end of the day, that's where the Giants' success has not come out of this, and the Giants do have an opportunity to go 2-2 here. But reality is, the Giants do have a better matchup. The better matchup is the offense versus their defense, obviously.
Yeah.
But run the ball. Until the Cowboys show they can stop the run this year, every team should be trying to do it. Justin, why don't you talk to us about something?
Well, I was even going to just say this one tendency thing too from Next Gen, and NFL Pro does a nice job of putting out some stuff, and then Research Rick was able to tweet this out. Trayvon Diggs has aligned on the right side 82% of the snaps, and Carson has aligned on the left side 88% of the snaps. From what I was told by my good buddy who was a Cowboy fan, go after Carson and attack Carson.
Carson's out.
Carson's out?
Yep.
Look at that. I guess maybe it's a good thing for the Giants, because then you go further in the backups. But regardless, it's not like it doesn't seem like Diggs is following the number one wide receiver per se.
No, so the Giants the Giants have been using a lot of motion too this year, especially with Malik Neighbors. The Giants are going to get matches from Malik Neighbors. But I hear at the end of the day, before you talk to us about something, I do think the Giants need 30 points to win this game, and we'll talk about that in a second. Why don't you talk to us about something?
Well, I want to ask you one more question. And I know we're just we got to talk about something.
You talk to us about something, and then you can ask the question.
Oh, okay. It is about the Giants offense. Bobby Skinner, I want to talk to you about Shady Rays. Can you say it, please? Can you say it? I love when you say it. Shady Rays, get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays, they got you covered, literally, because that's what sunglasses do. They cover your eyes with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. That's true. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. That's MetLife Stadium filled like 3.25 times. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. When I'm umping in the warehouse, Shady Rays, big sponsor of the warehouse, I got my Shady Rays on. Everybody loves me as an umpire. I was on TV today in the warehouse, and Ronnie Swanson tagged me in it. How do you like that? Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by a lost or broken replacements. Oh, that's awesome. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code GIANTS for 50% off. 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses, and then offer also applies to the custom Jimmy and Jake collab shades. So go get yours now. It's code GIANTS, 50% off, 2 pairs of sunglasses. Bobby Skinner, you'll be glad you did. And the question that what do you go ahead? You have something to say?
No, I don't.
You'll be glad you didn't say. You'll be glad you did.
Be glad you did.
The question I wanted to ask you is a big. I made this like a big point in the film review, and I just want to hear if I'm right or wrong. I thought pre-snap motion was Daniel Jones's like very best friend, very good friend in the passing game. Did you find that to be the case? Like when you're watching the film review, like, oh, this pre-snap motion by Wandale or Malik or whoever gave, like, I can even tell by looking at it from here that this is zone coverage, man coverage, and it helped Daniel Jones. Did you feel like that was a theme?
Oh, absolutely. They were successful. Like most of their successful players were using motion. So it's just kind of, and it's a way to not allow them to key in on Malik Neighbors because they motion Malik Neighbors so much. So it's not like, okay, here he is. Let's get our guy covered up on him and let's double him, right? So it's a way to have him avoid double teams. So yeah, and you just, you have your man zone identifiers, right? The Giants brought back mesh, as a third down concept, and you kind of need to know if you're facing man zone before you run that, because if you face zone, you're gonna pop out of the routes. If you run man, you run the routes fully. So yeah, the Giants have been used. I don't know the exact numbers, but I did notice this week. One of my game notes is the fact that they use a lot of motion.
Thank you.
In this most recent game. But yeah, the Cowboys have struggled with communication and misdirection and stuff, so I do see some of that happening. Let's talk about the Cowboys offense. And I know for some reason, everyone's kind of giddy for this matchup. And again, it is because the Cowboys are a little bit flawed this year. I don't give a damn. Like,
they're still a good team, man.
This Cowboys offense can put up fucking points, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really talented. And our defense, specifically in the secondary, is really not. And then you have Adoree Jackson and Drew Phillips, who are going to be out of this game. Like,
can we go through the depth chart of the corners really quick? Even for my sake, I would like to know what we have going.
So Deontay Banks is starting,
mm-hmm.
and then McLeod and Flott will start. But I don't know who's going to start where, because the first week they put McLeod on the outside, and then Flott was in the nickel all of a sudden. But I actually feel like both are better in the opposite role.
Right. So CeeDee Lamb is primarily a slot wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
So who is going to be covering CeeDee Lamb?
So I guess let's kind of skip ahead to CeeDee Lamb before we talk about like the ways the Giants can win. I mean, CeeDee hasn't looked great so far this season. And not just like looking at numbers, like watching his film, I was like, this is a little bit lethargic for his standard. But I mean, he still has 13 catches, 218 yards, and a touchdown on 21 targets.
There's some big plays, and he's known to have big plays against the Giants.
Yeah, so like he hasn't, but like I could see this being the game he blows up for 150 yards. But it has been weird. Like Dak hasn't looked his way like past years, especially versus man coverage. So you could see, but I can see this being the correction game. Right, especially after there was like a little sideline blow up last week. CeeDee fumbled the ball, and they're looking at the Giants kind of as like an easy pickings matchup to steady the ship with CeeDee Lamb. And to be honest, I don't think there's any answer for stopping CeeDee Lamb this week. Right, like it's hard to truly double team a receiver out of the slot who moves around like that. Right, we just talked about the motion of the Giants. Like he moves around so much, you don't know where he's going to line up. It's hard to double him unless you're just, unlike just a true outside wide receiver number one. So I don't know how you do it. In reality, I think everyone's going to be like, oh, we got to do what we did versus the Browns. Blitz, right? Play man coverage. Fuck that. Do not do that versus Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott will destroy you if you decide to just blitz and play man coverage when he has CeeDee Lamb. We have nobody who's going to cover CeeDee Lamb in man coverage. That's the fact. That's the matter of the fact when it comes to the Giants right now. You can run some blitzes and stuff, but I would run, zone blitzes. Right? You don't want to play soft and give them easy stuff, but their run game is not very good, which we'll talk about. But if you play man coverage, they're going to kill you. If you blitz and play man coverage, Dak is going to tear this secondary apart. I don't care how bad they've looked. CeeDee Lamb will go for 175 yards.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that have been talking about Dak's cadence. So like, oh yeah, here we go, where it's become a meme. But actually, like, you hear people break it down, but then you also pay attention to it. It's like that the way that he's using his cadence, it's similar to the way that like Aaron Rodgers would use a cadence, where you're in that, you're under center, you're looking pre-snap, and you're using the cadence to read the defense. You're using the cadence to try and catch a defense off by surprise, and you're changing it up and all that kind of shit. And I'm sure you hear quarterbacks, other quarterbacks or former quarterbacks talk about it a lot better than I can. But he's a master of it, man. And he's not perfect. He certainly has his imperfect moments in crunch time or the playoffs or whatever. But Dak Prescott, out of quarterbacks that get how to do the quarterbacking thing right in the NFL right now, I would say Dak's brain is like top 3, top 4 now. And he's an experienced veteran.
Is one of the older QBs in the league. Now he's had quite a few what the fuck moments this year as well too, right? Where he just like a safety rotates down. I even posted one from Talking Giants, like what is going on here? And a couple other plays where he's forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. So that is like, again, it's hard to just truly double CeeDee Lamb, but that is where I would be more zone based, right? Like the Giants haven't run any, cover 2, cover 4 this year, really. Like I would look to get in some of those coverages and really challenge them and make Dak go to other guys, and they might have success against that too, because this is the weakest secondary they faced all year. Like despite all their mistakes, like the Falcons secondary, pretty damn good. The Saints secondary might be one. It's probably top 3 in the NFL. And then last week against and then the Falcons. What did I get Falcons?
Yeah, the Browns. Yeah.
The Browns is a really good secondary, despite the fact that the Giants were able to eat on them. And then what was the other matchup that they had? And the Ravens. Ravens secondary it's not what it once was, but it's they're really good. They have Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. That's as good as the safety duos in the NFL. So you need to look for that. Now, I will say Dak has shown a lot of trust in Jake Ferguson so far this year, right? Like he looks for him in the seams versus zone coverage, so some tight throws, right? And that's where Dak will attack you. And even versus man coverage, he's like the first read a lot of the times, right? Like when I saw the Ravens play a good amount of man coverage, which they did, I'm like, okay, they're in man. He's going to look for CeeDee, and he's not. He's looking for Jake Ferguson. So it'll be interesting to see how the Giants look to attack Ferguson, because what the Giants have done all year is they'll line the safeties up too high, and then they'll just rotate the whichever safety's on the side of the tight end down in the man coverage a lot.
I feel like Pinnock has been the man coverage guy, and tight ends are going to.
Well, it's been a little. Pinnock has been the one that gets targeted.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, and then Newman has actually done a lot better job against it. So we'll see how they look to cover Jake Ferguson. I think that's pretty interesting. But if you blitz, man, they're going to get you. They're going to get with CeeDee Lamb, and if not, if it's a third down, money down, and the Giants line up like in a heavy blitz alignment, here's something I'm going to call: Brandon Cook's corner out. Brandon Cook's, it's going to come, right? So if you see the Giants get in a heavy blitz look on a third down, and Brandon Cooks is lined up in the slot, look for the Brandon Cooks corner out. If the Giants get beat by that, I will lose my mind, because that it's coming. They had a touchdown versus the Cowboys. They did it versus the Ravens. They did it versus the Saints. That is something they do. But they do push the ball down the field. So this is a big test for this secondary. This is a big test. This isn't like, I know we're all excited about the way the Giants play versus the Browns. The Browns offense is awful. Deshaun Watson is legitimately like the worst starting QB in the NFL now. now that Bryce Young is not a starter.
Cowboys' offensive line is also not the Browns' offensive line.
No, absolutely. And the Browns' offensive line was so banged up. And here, this is where I want to talk about the offensive line. I know this is going to sound repetitive on preview pods this year, but the Edges need the win, man. Like Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele have both struggled so far this season. Guyton's given up 3 sacks, a hit, and 4 pressures. Steele 2 sacks, a hit, and 6 pressures. The interior of the offensive line has been really good. You obviously have 2 All-Pros, Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. Cooper Beebe has been a stud from day one, but their tackles have not been good, and they don't really protect them, right? They did versus Myles Garrett, but that's because Myles Garrett's Myles Garrett. The tight ends don't stay in to block, right? And Ferguson's been flexed out like 61% of the time. So you have to create one-on-ones with those tackles, and you have to win, right? I know it's repetitive, but those guys have to win. The way to beat the Cowboys is you're not going to stifle this offense and hold them to 190 yards. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you that right now. You are not going to stop them from having a lot of passing yards. The way is to create negatives with the sacks, and you hope you can trick Dak Prescott into having a turnover too, which he even has had against the Giants over the last couple of years, despite the fact that they've, smacked us around. Like there's been, had 2 interceptions last year to Flawed and Darnay Holmes. He had, interceptions to Rodarius Williams and Julian Love on Thanksgiving 2 years ago. So he's not adverse to having some of those plays, but that's the way to beat them. And the other part of this is their rushing offense. If they run on us, the Giants should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Because this team cannot run the ball. And if they do on your defense, you should walk out with your heads hang low, not high, low. Because they're 30th in rushing yards, they're 28th in yards per carry, 3.6. They've abandoned it, but they've abandoned it because it's been really bad. Dowdle is their lead back, right? He's like a whatever, but he kind of has vision, and he just has no juice to really break tackles. Zeke has lost a step and doesn't have the burst. The way you need to attack them, though, because we talked about, I don't think you could just, just blitz and play tough, right? Just leave them out. So you're going to have to play a little bit from light box, and that's what Bowen does anyways, is be aggressive with your ends, right? Same way in the passing game. Be aggressive with your ends because their backs they don't have the juice to make you pay, right?
What if they're getting chipped again? Because that's been the thing. It's like, we'll be aggressive with the ends, but they're being chipped.
In the run game, get aggressive with your ends. Have them slanting in because their running backs don't have the athleticism to make you pay, right? The times where you say a defensive end jumps gap and then the running back breaks a run for 20 yards on the outside. Well, these backs don't have the juice to do that. So you need to get aggressive with your ends, and that's where they're weak on the O-line anyways, is with Steele's fine. Guyton has been struggling so far as a rookie. Get aggressive with your ends and then trust everyone else on the inside to do their job.
Yeah.
But that's the way I would attack their rushing offense, is just letting your ends rush kind of free. And you can even do that as a passing offense because it's not like Dak's going to run around and scramble a ton. He moves in the pocket really well, but he's not really a threat to kill you with his legs either.
Right. I have some more thoughts on the Giants defense during another portion of the show that we do, where I think there will be a player that I would love to see step up.
Well, I have the first Giant Factor pick, and there's a player that I think that should step up.
Oh, sugar.
Anything else on
No.
them?
I think we're taking the Dallas Cowboys offense for granted a little too much.
Oh, the fan base is. I'm not. I think their offense can light us up.
Yeah, I'm, and that's what I'm afraid of. But dude, Kayvon Thibodeau, we're saying this yet again. Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. Dexter Lawrence is going to do what Dex does, but Tyler Smith is, I think, playing at an all-pro level. Cooper Beebe is a rookie, so yeah, Dex can take advantage of him from a nose tackle perspective, even if he's having a good rookie year. And Zach Martin's a future Hall of Famer. So, Dex is going to do what Dex does, but these are 3 really good players that are going to have hands on them. Kayvon Thibodeau, you're a top 5 pick, and Brian Burns, you're getting over $30 million. Let's go, man. It's prime time. Prime time Kayvon, man. Prime time Kayvon, Thanksgiving year. Remember that? I still think that's one of Kayvon's best.
Year, huh?
That Thanksgiving Day, his rookie year, That's one of his best games as a pro. I know he didn't have a sack, but he had 5 QB hits against Tyler Smith when he was playing left tackle. I still go back to that game, and I get excited watching that little highlight reel. So come on, Kayvon, man, like prime time. Let's go, man.
Yeah, this isn't DeJuan Jones. As much as their tackles are weak, this isn't DeJuan Jones and Joel Latino kicking out the tackle.
No,
right. But Kayvon had wins versus Jedrick Witt. Like they need to win, right? I hate that we have to say that on every single pod, but that's the way it is with this secondary.
Yep.
Those guys need to win, especially when you're facing CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee's nuts. Justin, why don't you talk to us about something?
Well, why don't you? I was thinking about you were talking about something. You don't want to
talk to us about Corona. You know what? I always try to be a fan that never loses, and that's why I'll never, ever predict a loss. Here's what I mean. The Giants don't win every single week, but even when they lose, I'm still loving the game. I've still got the passion. I'm still loving America's game, football, because whether it's a big deep ball or some 3rd and short conversions, or just a great tailgate out in the parking lot, there's always something to cheer for.
L16, the tickets are in the link or in the description. We'll see you there. L16 on the curb.
An ad within an ad. And the best beer to pair with awesome moments, Corona, which I truly believe. My fridge is stocked full of them. Corona is all about finding the maximum amount of joy within every moment of the game, win or lose, at home or on the road. It's the perfect beer to go along with watching football and all the moments that come with it. So cheers to everyone who loves the game beyond the scoreboard. Corona, for the fans who never lose. Get yours at ordercorona.com for 21 plus. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. You'll be glad you do. I'm like, oh, you're gonna buy Corona in the West? Why don't you just go where stores are? How about that? Do you live where stores are? Okay, that's where you get the Corona, the store. Justin. And now we welcome onto the show our weatherman Jolly. Jolly, what's the weather looking like for MetLife? And actually, first, I have a hurricane that's hitting literally during this game. And I'm so dedicated to this craft that I'm like, well, I'm not going to miss the game for this hurricane. What's up with Hurricane Helene?
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised you're alive. I've been keeping tabs on it because, the Mets are down in Atlanta. They're getting hit by Helene, too. Pretty name for a pretty storm. They're going to be stuck there until Friday. So Bobby might be underwater by tomorrow. This might be the last Talking Giants. So send them your wishes, guys.
You're the permanent co-host.
Yeah, I guess
you're doing film reviews.
Oh no!
You know that I actually would like you to come and we can do Hurricane. It sucks.
I knew you were serious.
Oh yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm actually so mad that the Giants are playing during this because I can't go out and check things out live action. It's
not going to be nice at MetLife either. I mean, the Giants have had 3 pretty clean weeks of weather so far. Tomorrow's going to be kind of ugly. Not only is it going to be rain showers during the game, a little bit of chill, there's going to be humidity in the air as well. It's going to be a wet, muggy game tomorrow night in the swamp that is MetLife Stadium. Hopefully we come away with a win, though.
Are you coming with me?
I'm undecided. Depends how much work I get done during the day.
Why don't you get some work done in the day then? Why don't you
I
work
need
tonight?
to know.
I'm working tonight because I got to do football today tomorrow.
I'm working tonight as well, Bobby. We grind out here.
I'm not working tonight.
Yeah, I know. No grind. Running from it.
I am pissed off that I can't go out and enjoy this hurricane. But hopefully I don't lose power, or else I'll be doing the pod on my phone.
What does that entail? Going out and enjoying the hurricane?
Good question.
Well, so I'm on the East Coast, so I'm not going to get it as hard as the other side, the West Coast. Unless it shifts. So we're not going to get anything crazy, but it's just basically you go to the beach, see the waves, the wind, drive around, see the damage, see the flood zones. I've gotten off on top of the causeway and felt the wind during the middle of a hurricane, and that's a crazy feeling because it's just so high up. But it's just basically going and checking out everything. It's just basically just driving around and looking at the carnage.
I like that.
One time someone left their Corvette parked in the middle of the street because their house was flooded and they left the windows cracked. I understand why you're leaving this Corvette parked in the middle of the street, but why are the windows cracked? It's getting wet inside of it.
Just had to go.
But we'll see. All right, what do we got for trivia this week, Jolly?
Trivia. This week, right now, the standings: Bobby with 6 points on the year, Justin with 4 points. Most points at the end of the year will get a Giants jersey of their choosing, courtesy of me, because I'm just that kind of guy. This week is one question, one answer.
You know what?
One
I've
point
decided
available. What's up?
that if I win, I'm going to give the jersey to our former weatherman Danny because he
That's
gets
really
the
nice.
first round picks jersey every year. So I'm just going to give it to him so he doesn't have to spend that money.
I like
He didn't
that
get
it's
a
going
neighbor's
to him.
jersey yet?
He has to. I'm talking about next year's first round.
Oh,
pick.
next year's first round pick.
Did he not get a neighbor's jersey yet?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure he's ordered it.
I wish I could ask him, but he passed away.
Yeah,
so I
he's
guess we'll
dead,
never know.
so,
He's
yeah.
dead. Danny King's dead.
Yeah.
All right. Here's our question. Giants-Cowboys, tough matchup as of late. Giants have lost 13 of the last 14 games in this matchup. Pretty tough since 2017. But one of the games they won sort of recently, coming up on 10 years ago, involved the last time they returned a kickoff for a touchdown. It was a deciding score in that game as well. Not going to give you the exact year because I feel like that might help give it away. So the question today is pretty straightforward. Who scored the kickoff return touchdown? That was the last time the Giants had a kickoff return touchdown. It happened to be against the Dallas Cowboys. Who
Justin,
was that
we both
player?
know this answer. You want to answer on the count of three?
Yeah.
1,
2,
3.
3.
Dwayne Harris.
Dwayne Harris.
Good job, boys. I thought this one might have been a little bit of a layup, but I gotta like sprinkle some layups in there.
I thought you were going to go to that 2020 game, like the last.
I
game
thought
of the
about it,
season,
but I was
and I was
that
like,
was too
oh shit!
recent.
Like I that game, I remember what I had for lunch.
Xavier
that
McKinney
day.
had the game-winning interception.
I'm
He
trying
also
not
had
to
an
do anything
interception that was
when-
called back due to I think it was actually a Darnay Holmes holding call, which was
Nice.
a common
Classic.
theme. Sterling Shepard had 2 touchdowns in that game, 1 receiving, 1 rushing. I don't think he ever had 2 receiving touchdowns in the game. Nick Gates dropped his nuts on some dude. That was a fun game. Andrew Thomas just dominated DeMarcus Lawrence. That was a fun game.
Nicely done, boys.
So we
Who
both
was
get a
the-
point.
Hey, here's
Yeah.
trivia. Who
That's
was
a
the
good
number
point.
13 who scored a touchdown in that most recent Giants victory versus the Cowboys?
Oh,
Jolly. I'm asking Jolly. This is for
I know
Jolly,
this.
not Justin.
It's not OBJ.
No,
So,
it's not.
who's the number 13?
Who's the most
Yeah.
recent number 13 to score a touchdown versus Cowboys?
God,
We
I'm
can
not even
change it
good
to
with
that.
uniform numbers in my own sport, let alone football. I don't know who.
Dante Pettis.
Dante Pettis.
Never would have.
That was a nasty touchdown, by the way.
Never in a million years.
Yeah, Dante
Bobby.
Pettis, baby.
Remember there was like some like bullshit like they called a Dante Pettis drop in that game, and Joe Buck was like talking about it for 15 minutes straight. Like,
Good.
this game would be different if they called that call correctly. All right, we got fantasy now. Jolly won the week last week, so his first win of the week.
Neighbors, baby.
He's in second place with 110 points. He's 11.6 points behind me, who's in first. Averaging over 40 points per game. We're actually no one's had a real dud this year, so we're all doing solid. Justin's in last with 18 points. Like I'm averaging 40 points per game over that, and Justin's only 18 points back after 3 weeks. So we're all in it. I have the first pick this week, and I hate to do it, right? Because it'd be fun. Like I'm going Malik Neighbors, right? Because he's going to get me points. But I'm trying to win this. I'm going CeeDee Lamb. Like CeeDee Lamb
good.
really is Dallas's only passing option outside of Jake Ferguson. Their run game's awful, and CeeDee Lamb just has destroyed the Giants basically every single time he's played us. I'm going CeeDee Lamb with the first pick. It'd be irresponsible to not pick him with the first pick.
It's the right pick.
All right, then give me Malik Neighbors. I would love that.
All right, yeah, Justin's going second, so you're taking Malik Neighbors?
Yes, I would like that. Number 1 on my big board.
Is he? That's why you're in last place, though. He shouldn't be number 1 on your big board.
Nice picks. I figured they would be gone. I got the wraparound. Not a bad wraparound to have IMO. I will be taking Jake Ferguson because he was their second target on the Cowboys. He had a lot of targets. I think he had 11 targets last
Yeah,
week.
he had more than CeeDee.
Yeah, which is pretty absurd. So I expect him to have a pretty big game and annoy us all. I'm not going to take Cooks.
People don't realize I was a big fan of Jake Ferguson in the draft process.
No.
What is
Let's
that?
not do this.
What
Let's
is
not do
that?
this.
Expand.
I was a bigger fan.
Who tweeted about him first?
That's the true measure. Who was on it? It's not about who had the thought first. It's about who wrote it down first.
Well, I did have the thought for. I tweeted him.
But that
It
doesn't
was one of
matter.
my first draft profile of the year where I tweeted.
He went to
video
the
of
Senior
him.
Bowl.
Yeah, I was a
Love
big Jake
him.
Ferguson guy.
There's
Yeah,
some
me too.
tension here between you
I know.
two.
Yeah.
All right, Jolly. If you listen to the first part of the show, there should be an obvious pick here.
I was driving home during the first part of the show, but I'm going to stick to my board. I'm not going to pick Brandon Cooks, and I'm not going to pick the Cowboys running game. So I'm torn between Wan'Dale and Singletary. Wan'Dale's going to be good for a lot of targets. Giants run game scares me against the Cowboys front four. I'm going to take Wan'Dale.
All right. That's not a bad pick. I'll say that. There's someone else I would have went, but that's not a bad
You can
pick.
have him, Panic. You can have him.
Yeah, give me Devin Singletary. Thank you.
It's fine.
I'm a Giants fan.
So
Rooting
am I.
for the Giants this
And
weekend.
it's the right pick here too.
As long as I get Hyatt, I'm good.
He's gonna get a lot of carries. It's so funny that Hyatt has not gotten a single catch.
Still no points out of Hyatt. Let's go, baby.
Not a
Not a
single
catch.
catch.
Yeah, but if I don't pick him, then he's gonna get points. So I have to pick him. You know?
We didn't have a mailbag pod this week, but anyways.
Okay.
I have back-to-back picks, and this is where it gets ugly.
Didn't
I was
expand upon that thought.
I was just going to do a Jalen Hyatt rant, but I remember I did it on the recap pod.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about
It's
it.
like, stop trying to trade
More.
Darius Slayton for someone that's worse than him.
Speaking of which, take him.
This sucks. This really sucks right here.
Take Zeke. You want him.
No.
Zeke is good against Giants. Scores touchdowns.
Yeah, well, he was good against a lot of teams back in the day. Damn it. Slayton's dealing with a hand injury, and he's just been so low usage because it's been so heavy with Neighbors and Wan'Dale in this offense. Then I'm going to go Brandon Cooks with my second pick, or first pick of that's my second overall.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to go the Cowboys starting back, Rico Dowdle. Giants run defense isn't good. I know the Cowboys rushing offense isn't good, but this could be their get right game. I'm going to go Rico. Poor Rico. Do you know the song story, Rico's story, Jolly?
I don't.
Poor Rico. He ain't got no money. He done lost his job. Justin, your third pick.
Yeah, this is the unfortunate part where I should do a big board.
No way.
You know what?
It's not your thing.
I love this guy. I like this guy more than Bobby did.
Yeah, you did. You took him in a mock draft. How's he doing in the NFL?
He's not doing too well, but he could do well against the Giants. Give me Jalen Tolbert.
That was my next pick.
Where did Jalen Tolbert go to college, Jolly?
Asking the wrong guy.
Where did he go to college, Justin?
He went to like South Alabama, Mobile. Went to Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama, the home of the Senior Bowl.
That's right.
I can't wait for talking Giants in 5 years where it's just like, yeah, we've covered every player in the NFL through the draft. Which we kind of,
Let's go through all the players. Yeah, let's go.
You got a running list, right?
Actually, let us. Let's go through the first 8 picks. CeeDee Lamb, yep. Malik Neighbors, yep. Jake Ferguson, yep. Brandon Cooks, no. Devin Singletary, no. Wan'Dale, yep. Rico Dowdle, no. Jalen Tolbert, yes.
Nice.
All right, Jolly, you got your last 2 picks.
I do. I actually don't think I'm going to pick Hyatt because there's actually still good options here.
Hyatt's like
You're
16th on my big board.
Whoa, disrespect. Crazy. All right, let's see. Oh boy. I don't think Slayton will play.
He should.
He should, but I don't think he will.
That would suck. By the way,
Short
we
week.
didn't really talk about.
You don't
that.
think he's going to play? He's questioned. He'll
Just
play.
because of the short week.
He'll play, but this is a tradable slot.
No, yeah, I know. I have 2 spots and 3 names.
like Devontae Turpin? Like, come on, who do you feel better about, Devontae Turpin or Darius Slayton?
Relax. I'm thinking about Theo. All right. Jeez. My
Theo.
goodness.
Theo they actually might start Bellinger. Bellinger started getting some 11 personnel snaps at the end of the game.
Just give me
If
Slayton
Daniel
and
Jones
Zeke.
was more accurate, Theo Johnson would be like the most overrated player in the Giants, but because Daniel Jones has missed him a lot, he's become like the most like, oh, what the fuck is this guy doing out there guy on the team.
Slayton and Zeke.
Those are the right picks.
Yeah.
There's there's times where I have like, that's all right. Like the Wan'Dale pick. I would have went Singletary, but it's a fine pick.
You'll see.
These are the only correct picks here.
Yeah.
The rest you're just hoping. They're not based on any type of substance. So Justin, who's your hope pick with your last one?
Devontae Turpin.
Yeah, that's
Tavante.
That's a good like just throw it against the wall pick. You know what I'm gonna go? Because I talked about like how I think the Giants need to run the ball so much. And this guy actually did good with his touches last week. I'm not taking the Giants tight end until they get more than 20 yards in a game. I'm going Tyrone Tracy. Just because I think he'll get a handful of carries, a couple catches in the quick game. So I'm just going to go him. Give myself a little, 6 point, 4 to 5 point minimum out of Tyrone Tracy. So to recap, myself in first has CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Rico Dowdle, and Tyrone Tracy. Jolly in second, 11 points back. Jake Ferguson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Zeke Elliott. Justin in last, Malik Neighbors, Singletary, Jalen Tolbert, and Devontae Turpin.
Bobby, can I talk about something? Because there's a lot of things we have to talk about this episode.
Yeah, why don't you talk to us about something, buddy?
I'm going to talk to you about Mando. Hello, Mando. I use it every day. I actually received it as a gift at one point, and then it's like, oh, well, Mando wants to sponsor Talking Giants. I'm like, you know what? That's freaking awesome, because I'm sure you've heard me talk about Mando before. Mando whole body deodorant at this point. You can use it on your whole body. Yes, your whole body. It's dermatologist tested and gentle on all your bits. Jolly talks to me about his bits all the time. Whole body deodorant. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, packages, grundle and balls, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. I know about those stomach folds. Created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And Mando is American-made. Made in America. And Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Hello. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers, you get $5 off your starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code Talkin' Giants, all one word, 1G, Talkin' Giants at shopmando.com. I have to sneeze. SHOPMANDO.com, shopmando.com, code Talkin' Giants. You will be glad you did. The sneeze went away.
Nice.
Be glad you did.
Nice.
All right, it's time for Giant Factor. I'm going Bobby Okereke. I just need him to make plays. Right? That's what I need. Like I don't need him to have the most perfect game, but Dak likes to throw the ball up the seam, right? He likes to be aggressive with it. Let's get an interception. Let's get our hands on the football. Let's tip it up to Micah McFadden or somebody else in the crew. In the run game, right? You need to make plays. Get some tackles for a loss. I know this defense doesn't really create that, but let this be the game that it does. Bobby Okereke, you are my week 4 Thursday night football prime time. This is how you don't just get within Giants fans like he's a really good player. This is how prime time is what gets you talked about in the nation. Bobby Okereke, be a Giant Factor. Suck it, Justin.
That was a great
who is your
Giant
week
Factor.
4 Giant Factor?
Fantastic. My talking point around Bobby Okereke was going to be just they're bad at running the ball.
He's not your Giant Factor. Stop.
I know. So you know what? I'll stop talking about it. I had a really good talking point about Bobby Okereke, and I was gonna have the kill the will, kill their will to run the ball, Bobby Okereke, and I was gonna get all fired up. Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is my Giant Factor. I hope you play, number 1. Number 2, and if you do, there's going to be more attention that is going to be thrown towards Malik Neighbors' way. I think what Brian Dable is doing with Malik Neighbors pre-snap and kind of getting him in good scenarios, I think Malik Neighbors will be fine. But if extra attention is brought his way, if he's double covered, if he's triple covered, then I know a guy like Darius Slayton can get open and can be relied upon and can be serviceable for this offense. And he has been kind of quiet. Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors have been basically the full amount of this passing offense so far this year. So Darius Slayton, go out there, be a Giant Factor. No drop balls on national television, please.
Please, 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 please. If he doesn't play, that'd be the first Giant Factor to not play of the year.
Yeah, Danny King is usually good for that.
I think I have the 2 best, though. I picked Golden Tate to be the Giant Factor when he got suspended by Joe Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked Janoris Jenkins hours before the Giants cut him because he was calling people the R word on Twitter.
On social media, yeah.
That tweet's still up, though. So I kind of – remember when week 1, Janoris Jenkins was just like, he'd a poo-poo head like Daniel Jones? Did you see that? And people are like, this guy gets it. It's like he's clearly a moron. Like he's a
This
good
guy gets
corner, but like if just use the film. Don't use Janoris Jenkins calling him the poo-poo man as the way of your evidence of Daniel Jones not being good. Just use the film. Use stats. Not Jordan. Like Janoris Jenkins is a dumb person. You can clip this and tell him. Even though I didn't want you cut, by the way, Janoris, I thought they should have just suspended you for the rest of the year and then seen what they could have got for you. The Saints picked up that option. All right, spread picks.
Oh,
Jolly, who's your Giant factor?
jeez, thank you.
Oh yeah,
Justin.
who's your
My
Giant factor,
goodness.
Jolly?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm going with
You
Kayvon
should just
Thibodeau
read
this
the
week.
ad here, and you're like your Giant factor is that whatever company.
I'll tell you about something after this if you want, but I'm going to tell you about my Giant factor first, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau. All right. Last year was a ghost the first 2 weeks. Had a nice week 3, excuse me, and then his season took off from there. Last week we saw him make a big play in the Browns game, big stop late in the game. The stat sheet is starting to get filled up a little bit, and this Cowboys front line, their O-line, it's not going to be as much of a cakewalk as the Cleveland game. I'm looking him to build off of that because it was kind of a coming out party for the entire defense last week. I don't think he got maybe the headline we would have expected him to. Guys like Pinnock took center stage, and that's okay because Kayvon can have this game for himself, redeem himself from the week 1 he had last year where, again, just didn't really make any significant moves in the game. Kayvon, be a Giant factor, be the guy, be the top 5 pick. Let's go.
How many career sacks for Kayvon Thibodeau against the Cowboys? Even though he did have a good Thanksgiving game his rookie year. How many career sacks?
0.
How many tackles for loss? Career?
I'm gonna guess 0.
0. Let's change that.
Nice.
Change that shit, bro.
Nice piggyback.
Who's your other Giant factor, Jolly?
My other Giant factor? That's probably Captain Morgan, if I had to guess.
Oh.
Because this episode is brought to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum sponsor of not only Talking Giants, but the entire NFL. The NFL season, you need the right players in the game, and sometimes you need to spice things up. Same goes for your drink. So when it gets bland or muggy, like it's going to be at MetLife tomorrow, try Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum. It's delicious and crisp, perfect for game day with friends, and it'll spice up your night. The Giants need a little bit of spice tomorrow to cut through that thick air. So visit CaptainMorgan.com to find Captain near you. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, NY. Visit the website. Find Captain near you. You'll be glad that you did. Nice. This is cutting edge, guys.
Oh, there it is.
That was the worst Cheez-It Bowl ever. I stand by that. There's
You
no
Bobby
Cheez-It Bowl.
Flo? That's like when I first started working here. First time I met you. It's Bobby Flo.
Amazon on NFL uses as a meme when the Packers traded Devontae Adams, like Packers fans right now.
It was good.
This is Dickie V. That one will never go away. All right. Spread picks. I'm not feeling so good, fellas. I am in last place at 8-16 after a 2-7 week.
What's up with the listeners every year now?
Jeez.
Well, just 1 year. I do feel a lot going into week 4. I feel a lot better about like my picks than I did the first few weeks. So I'm excited to get this week done just to shut everyone up. Justin's in second to last at 10-14 after a 4-5 week. Jolly, you're under 500 after a 3-6 week, 11-13. The listeners 6-3 are at 14-10 in first place. Now you cannot take any victory laps after week 3, so you're not allowed to. I know we're not reading the chats because it's a podcast, but someone said, "Why is Jolly Olive on football?"
Never seen it before.
It's true.
What? Catch up, bro.
Bro, this
month.
is week 4, Ryan Clifford.
It's been a month of this.
Seriously, come on, man.
Someone said because he wants to get paid, and then you get laid. All right, we got Vikings at Packers -2.5. Don't know fully if Jordan Love is playing, and they keep doing this shit down to the wire every single week. But I'm gonna go Packers. I think the Vikings lose their undefeated, streak. And the Packers blew them out at the end of the last year, and they blew them out by running the damn ball. Now Jordan Love played really well, but they had 180 rushing yards. The Packers had the number 1 rushing offense in football. I think that's the way of beating this Vikings defense. Just lean on them and run. So I'm going to go Packers -2.5. The listeners, represented by Chris Bonamo, is going Vikings +2.5. Justin, what do you got?
Vikings train doesn't stop rolling. Give me the Vikings.
Jolly.
I am also drinking that Vikings Kool-Aid, baby.
Probably like the two coach of the years right now is like this is the coach of the year matchup right here. So we'll see. Eagles at Bucs +2.5. We have a playoff rematch. Listeners are going Bucs. Jolly, what do you got?
I'm going with the listeners. I'm going Bucs as well. I feel like the Eagles have just looked really sloppy for a couple weeks now, and I don't see that turning around against a team that very recently whooped their ass on national television.
Yeah, the Eagles' saving grace has been being able to run the ball, and the Bucs are not going to let the Eagles do that, right? The Bucs are a great run defense. They're not going to let the Eagles do that. They're going to confuse Jalen Hurts. So I'm going Bucs as well. And it looks like A.J. Brown might be out for another week. So I feel really good about this pick. I got the Bucs +2.5. Justin, is it a clean sweep?
What's the status of Devontae Smith?
Is that going to make a difference in your pick?
It may, because Devontae Smith is not participating in Wednesday's walkthrough. He's progressing through the 5-step protocol, yet isn't far enough along to resume practicing in any capacity. Crap. Dude, I still want to pick the Eagle. Give me the Bucs. Devontae Smith may not play.
Andy Dalton revenge game. We got Bengals at Panthers +4.5. The listeners are actually going for Panthers +4.5. Justin, do the Bengals finally win a game this year?
You know what? Maybe
cover.
Maybe me going against them will inspire them. So you know what? This is a pick out of protest. Panthers will cover.
Oh, I hope it does inspire them because I'm going Bengals -4.5. Adam Thielen actually is a like an injury that matters for the Panthers. I'm going Bengals. Jolly, what do you got?
I'm going Bengals too. Panic, I respect the hedge. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Saints at Falcons -1.5. This was probably the easiest pick I had all week. Saints +1.5. I think they're a much better team. I think that defense is suffocating, and I think their offense can do enough to win. You know, they're not facing Vic Fangio this week. I'm going Saints +1.5. The listeners are going Falcons, though. Justin, what do you got?
I'm going Saints. I think they're just a better football team right now. Even though, I mean, Kirk is throwing the ball pretty well, but give me the Saints.
Jolly.
Saints as well for me. I'm surprised this spread isn't bigger, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons are just favored for one. So that's surprising. What do you guys think of Arthur Blank, like, naming himself to the Ring of Honor?
Must have been an emotional phone call that he got.
I saw that tweet too.
It's
but like, what's
Obama
the point?
putting the medal on himself.
What's the point of doing that? Because you should wait until, I guess, fucking do it while you're alive. Because once you're dead, it doesn't matter. But like, that's the way you get remembered. Is like, oh well, he died. We got to do a Ring of Honor ceremony.
When does Danny King get into the Talking Giants Ring of Honor? Because he died.
We haven't had a Talking Giants Ring of Honor member in a while.
No,
Danny's in Talking Giants. He can't be in the Ring of Honor.
Okay.
He could win the Tony Award if he breaks some stories for TMZ for the Giants. So that could happen. I need to get Jolly some news to break here soon, so you can we get mad at the beat reporters for not.
I mean, honestly, we could just at any point we can run the Jakob Johnson has been signed to the practice squad or cut. Like we could just fire.
We can't do that. We actually have to break. Like in 2020, we thought about just cutting somebody. That like we knew was going to get cut, but we didn't do it because we're like, that's dishonest. And what if that person's family is refreshing Twitter looking for their name all day, and then news breaks, and then they didn't, which does happen. Commanders at Cardinals -3.5. I actually think this is a tough one. This is a Cliff Kingsbury revenge game, but you know what? I'm not getting sucked up into primetime overreaction. Cardinals -3.5. Does someone have a cat in the background?
Yeah, I'm hearing. I think that's you, Jolly.
I don't have a cat.
Sounds like there's something going on.
There are outdoor cats by my house. That's might be like in my driveway.
I'm hearing that.
Open your window and see.
It sounds like Jimmy and Jake in the Bronx, circa 2020.
Well, usually they like Oh, like I know where they hide, but it's dark. I can't really see them.
So it
Well,
is you. Why didn't you just admit it from the get go?
Well, because I didn't hear it, so you guys
Well,
just
I-
have really good hearing, I guess.
Yeah, give me the cards. Go Kyler Murray.
Should I pull up the clip of us doing cat fighting noises on Superman Radio, Justin?
No, please.
How do you have that ready?
I don't, but I can find it.
Commanders for me.
Just go to
hey.
Superman Radio Twitter and search cats. You're going Commanders, Jolly?
I am. I liked what I saw in primetime. I'll drink a little bit of that Kool-Aid, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way.
All right, listeners are going Cardinals. Chiefs at Chargers +8. I think Herbert's going to play in this. And I'm not – listen, I don't know if they're going to win, even though I kind of want to predict them to win. I'm going Chargers +8. Chiefs haven't – every game has been close for the Chiefs this year.
It's a good point.
Like, this is a big game. Like, this is a market on the calendar game for the Chargers since the offseason started. For the Chiefs, it's just another divisional game.
I want this to be a game to be like, all right, well, that's why Bobby was a little wrong about the Chargers. So give me the Chiefs. I just don't think they're talented enough.
Well, they're injured, Justin. Justin Herbert's literally injured. They'd probably be 3-0 if he wasn't injured.
Oh. If Snacks' aunt had
listeners
balls,
got
she'd be his
Chiefs
uncle.
-8. Jolly, who do you got?
Chiefs -8 as well.
If Snacks' aunt had a ball, he'd be his uncle. That's what
That's
says.
like a common phrase. That Snacks didn't create that phrase.
Oh,
I don't know why. You just kind of lump Snacks in there.
I know. But I love that man. I'm going to see him tomorrow. Oh, my Jolly.
Ravens -2.5. I'm kind of shocked that the Ravens are favored in this game. I'm going Bills. This is why the Ravens will win, is because everyone's shocked at this, but you got to go Bills +2.5, right?
Bills looked so good last week, so I'm going to go Bills too.
And that's when they end up losing. But I'm going Bills. Listeners are going Bills. Justin, what do you got?
Ravens.
I feel better about it now.
Just making sure I don't fit in. That's what he said.
Seahawks at Lions -3.5. Listeners are going Seahawks. Jolly, who you got?
I got Lions. Seahawks are a nice story to start the year, but I just think the Lions are a better team on all fronts.
Justin, who do you got?
Seahawks. Let's do it.
So the Seahawks are playing really well. Do you remember how many points Mike McDonald held the Lions to last year? 6. 6.
Mm-hmm.
They beat their ass last year. And the Seahawks scored a lot of – I think the Seahawks may even beat the Lions last year too. I know they scored a lot of points. I remember, watching this film of that game because the Seahawks beat the Lions last year. So double whammy. I'm going Seahawks +3.5.
Who's leading the league in QB hits according to PFF?
Jolly, what's your score prediction?
Leonard Williams is leading the league in QB hits according to PFF.
You didn't have to bring that up.
Yes, I did.
You really didn't. It's fine. Score prediction?
Dave McKinney has 5 interceptions in his last 4 games. Justin, who's leading the league in rushing? Why don't you talk about that stat?
Are we going to do this? Are we doing this whole rigmarole? The Giants will win this game 27-24. Will it to existence?
Justin, what do you got?
I was negative on them last week, and they proved me wrong. I'll be negative on them again. Giants lose 35-17. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys offense should probably light up the Giants defense. Just light them up. But it's Thursday Night Football. The Giants have the opportunity to go 2-2, force the Cowboys to go 1-3. Let's win a damn primetime game, right? You know what? Also, I'll never complain about this job, but you know what sucks is watching a primetime game. Justin's got to spend an hour and a half getting home, and we're recording at 2 a.m. talking about the Giants losing, and people are out on the team. I don't want to do that. Give me a primetime victory. That's what I want. Give it to me. Just one. You put us at 2-2. I'm going full delusion mode. Don't let this be the Saints 2021, right? Where you get excited and then you get your ass kicked by the Cowboys the next week. Giants 77, Cowboys 0. We appreciate you guys. We will see you Friday morning on a victory podcast. Primetime. People are back. We beat Dallas. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue. All right, ended.